Good morning, everyone. I'm going to call the May 23rd Facilities Committee meeting to order. We need to first approve the agenda. I'd like to remove under open session information, I'd like to remove reimbursement projects and table it to the next meeting. And we have a new order to the agenda. You'll see for action items are first, for information only, and then closed session at the end, so you know what we're voting for and not voting for at the request of our chair. Okay, so with that, can I get an approval of the amended agenda?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Dave. Mr. Burnett.
Yes, good morning. This next item, or this first item, is the proposed county tower at Grayview Elementary School. We do have a representative from the county who's available for questions, and that's John Williams. The county has made a request, and it's from Union County Emergency Services, to place a public safety radio system tower on the campus at Grayview Elementary School. You can see on the
Can you pull it up
graph.
on GIS so we can see it better? Do you mind?
No.
Thank you. It would be easier to look at.
And the tower will provide
Okay.
improved reception and transmission coverage for law enforcement, firefighters, emergency medical personnel. This particular area was selected so that in an effort to not interfere with school operations. At this point, the committee, you all may want to consider this as a concept. The request is the Board of Education, in this case is the committee, good with the concept of an emergency communications tower at Grayview Elementary School.
I have a couple questions. Where else are they considering? Do we know, other than a school property? Okay, so that's the property.
That's the only location right now that we're wanting to add an additional tower. We've got towers throughout the county, but the Grayview area and towards the Mecklenburg County line is an area that we identified a coverage need for, and that's why we wanted to try to get one in that area.
And where, Danny, is it in that opening right there? Okay, that's what I thought. And you would have to clear trees there in order to put it?
There may have to be some clearing done.
I did take the liberty of talking to Curtis Teague. I did ask that question. And his response was they'd have to clear approximately 30 feet from the existing driveway to the school and have a compound of about 100 foot by 100 foot. That would be cleared.
Okay, and
What would the height of the tower be?
it's
I asked him that question also. He said it'd be between 300 and 380 feet.
So
If you had anything different.
That is correct.
So there'd be some substantial guide wires also.
They said
No
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 supporting
guide.
No.
cables.
supporting cables. Okay.
what about fencing around it?
Yes, it'll be fenced, and the county requires that you landscape around it too. So there'll be some landscaping done around the fencing also.
And I'm assuming a backup generator also?
Yes,
So all that would be contained?
all that
within
will
the-
be inside the fence.
How far, so if it's 100 by 100 cleared space, is that what you fence in, the 100 by 100? Okay. And you would access it off of our driveway?
That's correct.
And there'd be another road to get to it, or would you pave it to get there? What do you
There
do?
would be another access. We probably wouldn't pave it. We would just gravel it to the tower side.
And where's all our playgrounds and stuff on this?
Over to the right, yeah. There and yes, down there. Right now, it's a wooded area. You really don't see that, but with the extent of clearing, then that probably would become visible. Obviously, at 300 plus feet, you will be seeing, the tower up high.
What's that? Is that a
It's
house?
it's the barn. That's what I've heard it called. Danny, can you?
So the existing barn that was there, whenever the property was acquired.
And what's over there?
This
Uh-huh.
is a storage shed for us to keep materials and equipment in for that side of the county.
Gotcha. Okay. You can't see that when you drive back in.
No.
Okay.
No.
Get it all. Not allowed.
That's what he said. The county has to do the landscaping and maintain it and everything, correct? So would we would enter into some sort of agreement if we, as a
Well, I
board,
would
agree to it?
expect we need to formulate a lease agreement here for the property. I think that's how you did the Cuthbertson Tower.
We have one at Cuthbertson, but it's back. It's way back. You can't.
And I guess has this been studied for as far as line of sight and coverage for this area? It's on a high elevation.
Yeah, it has been.
And so those are all trees in between where the school is and where this tower would be.
That's correct. Yeah, as you drive by, as you're on what's labeled as Reed Dairy Road, it's our driveway, I'm expecting that you will see it, the cleared area. But when you're at the school, you won't see it. And this is county jurisdiction, county zoning,
Yes.
county requirements. For
It
that.
is all the county,
It is,
correct?
yes.
That's what I thought.
So I guess ultimately we'll go to the county commissioners as far as public input and everything for the tower over here.
I don't know.
As you mean, as far as getting public input, is people pro and against it?
Yes.
Yeah, it'll have to go to the Board of Adjustment and Planning Board, and it'll
And I
have to
think
go
they
through all the necessary.
They notify
processes,
neighbors and
yeah.
things like that.
So the question is, I guess, as a concept, is this committee want to recommend it to the board? And again, we would have more work to do, as I would expect. We need to work on lease agreements and other things like
And
that.
I guess from a safe operation of school perspective, how do we feel? I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's our property. How do we feel about it from a safety on our property, from a attractive nuisance thing, or are we concerned at all about anything?
How many of our schools currently have some type of tower, whether it's this kind or cell? I think, don't we have some cell phone towers?
I know the middle school, high school D site, which is not an occupied site, has a tower. Cuthbertson has this same tower that they're proposing for here.
And theirs is back.
It's in the back of the school.
Behind.
Property off of Curve
Is there
Road,
not
that's
one
the
at
same
Porter
setup.
Ridge?
I'm not aware of a tower at Porter Ridge. There is proposed to be a tower at behind Piedmont High School. That's in the works right now. It's not on school system land. It's, we don't have an item with that, but I'm not aware of any other.
So from a
sites.
staff perspective, you don't have any concerns?
I think visually you will see it. And hopefully it is screened, to the point that it's not, anything that's, scary looking for kids and things like that. But it's going to be fenced.
John,
So-
so is this also considered part of the effort with the bidirectional antennas?
It would be, yeah, it would bolster some of the coverage with that in the school and in the surrounding areas around the school. Yes.
With the antenna being there, would you actually need a repeater or transponder there?
I can't speak to or against that because I don't know exactly what the studies showed on
It's right
that,
there.
but
That's a
more than likely, it would not be surprising to have a repeater inside the building because, again, you're so far up and it's just about penetrating the brick and mortar, really.
I know. But this is when you first pull in, but doesn't affect anything. It just doesn't.
Right, and so Danny's pulled up on the screen. This is the Porter Ridge campus, and there is a,
That's Cuthbertson.
I'm sorry, oh, that's Cuthbertson? Oh,
Yeah.
good. I wasn't aware that we had one at Porter Ridge. That's
That's Cuddy.
Cuthbertson campus.
My mouthing delivery.
Okay.
How tall is that one?
They said it was in the same neighborhood. It's similar tower, similar size, possibly not exact size, but in the 300 to 380 feet range.
Communications. Okay, so this is the only location the county has considered. There, and it sounds like it's not really a concept. This is the only place the county has chosen.
I'm not aware of any other potential tower sites in that area. There may be, but I'm not aware of any.
Does Mecklenburg have one near there?
I'm not sure on that.
Okay.
Yeah, they're asking us to.
They introduced it as.
I know. I heard. You know where you're going. I mean, I guess this is something we could have the whole board have a conversation about. Is that what we're thinking?
We'll send it to the full board.
Are you good with that? Okay. So, is that a motion? Send it to the full board.
Yes, I motion that we send it to the full board.
All those in favor?
At thank you, Mr. Williams. Next item is the Monaro High School Bond CIP project bids. Good news, actually great news. Bids were received on May 10th for the Monaro High School project. Again, it's a combination bond and CIP funds. We had 5 bidders. The lowest responsive bid was provided by Haas Contracting, same contractor who's providing Western Union and Monroe Middle School projects there. His bid was $4,440,000, and that's inclusive of all bid alternates. We have a list of all the bid alternates below in the table. And as far as the budget goes, again, we have a project budget that's inclusive of all items, and that's soft costs, and that's equipment, things like that. We have a construction budget. The combined construction budget is $4,402,632. We have contingencies that are in that project budget. So we're tapping into those contingencies to cover the difference, which is $37,368. That leaves ample contingency in the project. Staff is recommending that the Facilities Committee recommend to the Board of Education the approval of this construction contract with Haas Contracting in the amount of $4,440,000.
A quick question on this. I know we have it broke down as far as the project budget from CIP to bond money.
Right.
Do we have a breakdown on the actual cost, bond money and CIP? Or we're just
So
lumping it together?
we had budgets, yes. So we had 2 different budgets for that would combine those together. If that's answering your question.
Yeah, because, well, I guess the came out to be
402,632.
So I guess what's the breakdown between bond and CIP?
Okay, that was, bond was $3,613,932. CIP was $788,700. That's not counting contingencies. Those are added below on that.
So we're combining the two because we bid it together, right?
Yes.
So
So it looks like it's over budget.
So within our,
If I used his numbers correctly, it looks like.
but we're tapping into the contingencies that we have built in. So with contingencies, I can tell you, we had $235,906 built into the construction for that. So the number I gave you was construction costs, construction budget, not counting contingencies. But we have contingencies for construction. We have contingencies for soft costs. We have contingencies for miscellaneous costs. We have contingencies for equipment. And those are all, different percentages and, much smaller amounts.
And the contingencies, do they come out of the CIP or the bond?
We did both.
Both, okay.
I guess the question is, are we under or over budget?
We're within our budget.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
what
my
the
addition.
the budget's side.
I guess my concern is, if we're a little high on bond money, we bring up CIP money to it, or vice versa. We will be looking at the contractor's schedule of values and seeing that the bid isn't such that, bid everything that's CIP and then bid everything that's bond. It's all one bid. It's Okay.
all combined.
I guess my thing is, I'd rather use CIP money versus bond money. We could, possibly. I'd rather use CIP money. Okay,
We
well, I
are.
know we're gonna use it all, but yeah, but as far as bond purposes, so, yeah.
So we're like 5.3 all in, right? 5.3 all in
Mhm.
for both projects, right?
528, all in.
Yeah.
Is the overall
Right.
total what?
For everything. So you feel that we're gonna be able to get this all done for the 5.28?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're very pleased. The numbers came in right, right where you would want them. We had great participation on this. And we will, as you will find, as we go through this meeting, that's a little bit unusual in today's market. To have 5 bidders is
Because that's the budget. That's what costs. Okay. So you need a recommendation to the full board.
yes.
Make the motion that we recommend to the full board.
Second.
All those in favor?
Next item is sales tax reimbursements and general contractor contract assignments. Monday night, the Board of County Commissioners approved the amendment to the sales tax reimbursement agreement, which you all have already approved. The Board of Education has approved. And what that allows is for sales tax on these bond projects to come back to the projects. And we are pursuing assigning the Western Union and the Monaro High School contracts to the county. And that effort is underway. I talked with finance yesterday. They felt confident that it would be ready for the June 5th meeting. And again, we're just assigning the contract to the county. And again, that enables the sales tax, the full sales tax reimbursement to
come
come
back
to
to
the
us.
school, to the project.
And we approved that whole interlocal agreement last meeting, so.
Yes.
And
Yeah, you have already approved it and we're
So
just kind of
this
giving
is just
you.
adding 2 more projects to it. Okay.
Do we need action on this?
Yeah, we need a motion to recommend to the full board that I assume it's an amendment to the assignment of contract to include Western Union and Monroe High School.
Yes, it's the assignment of the contract to the
Okay.
county.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
Those in favor? Okay.
Next item is the old Fairview lease. This has been a long time coming, and we've had it's been educational, for quite a few of us on some of the specific requirements that Board of Educations have to deal with as opposed to other government agencies. In this particular lease, the town of Fairview has approved already the rental rate of $12,000 annually. That's $1,000 a month. We've split out areas where they're going to provide lawn maintenance and what the school system's going to cover, and custodial services provided by Union County Public Schools at a rate of $75 a month. The Board of County Commissioners does need to act on this. They do need to, exercise their right of refusal on this. Otherwise, staff recommends, the Facilities Committee recommend to the Board of Education to approve the proposed lease with the town of Fairview.
And the custodial services, what does that include?
It's cleaning up prior to their meeting. It's removing of trash and things like
But it's
that.
not supplies, like paper products or so. It's not,
I think we're thinking it does. We can look into that too.
75 a month doesn't seem like a lot
I
for
know,
that.
especially if we're stocking.
And we'll confirm whether we're providing that.
And my concern is too, they have a heavy trash day and we're spending all day taking trash out for one day.
Yeah, and what they're leasing basically is 2 classrooms and a bathroom. And they'll have their, I think, do they have their monthly meeting there? I think they have their monthly meeting.
They do. They have their monthly meeting.
They do.
And the 75 was inclusive of soap, paper towels and such, but they're only there a short amount of time. And that was ran through our custodial department to come up with that number.
And I guess what happens too for emergency custodial services if needed? Is
They
that-
certainly can call us and we can work something out.
Okay.
That might be an additional fee.
But they're responsible for all that in the lease. So.
Okay.
And so the recommendation is for the committee to recommend to the Board of Education to approve the proposed lease with the town of Fairview.
Subject to the approval of the county.
Yes.
Okay.
Make a motion that we recommend this to the full board and then send it to the county commissioners if approved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The next item is surplus materials. Usually this is for information. This particular one is for discussion. What we have added on this one is a mobile unit discussion. We are proposing in this phase, we'll say multiple phases of mobile units to be added to the surplus list. What we're looking at right now is, I showed 46, but I didn't count Western Union, which I think we've already had that discussion, but we didn't surplus the 3 mobile units at Western Union. So that's going to be 49 for this round. What we do want to act on, or have you all approve, is remove surplusing 3 units from Western Union, 8 units from Sandy Ridge, 15 units from Wingate, 14 units from Porter Ridge Middle School, 9 units from Sun Valley High School. And these are, we'd ask that you allow us up to these numbers. We still have some discussions we want to have with principals that they've had some issues. These mobiles don't remove, we aren't removing all of the mobile units from these schools. They're still saving mobile units at each of those schools. The Sun Valley move was really required for construction, and that their next year's capacity is expected to be in utilization is expected to be at 91%. We've been working with the school on that for half a year to try to make sure that they can absorb the loss of those units. Western Union was good, with it. Of course, no one's good with, losing space, but they were good. Wingate was also good with losing the 15 units. We're going to keep 5 there. At Sandy Ridge, they had an after-school note that they let us in on. They've got 3 units that they use for after-school. Going to meet with that school to see if we can't get to use some interior space.
They have interior space.
Yeah. And Porter Ridge Middle School, we were proposing to remove 14 of the 21, and that the school was asking if we could lessen that, but we have a meeting set up with them also to see about how they're utilizing their space.
So if we grant you up to this amount, you'll still have to come back to us for surplus or no?
So for up to 49, and that we would not come back to you on those units. We have other mobile units that we have identified that later this year, we also would want to have the same discussion. Really, we think we can easily remove 155 mobile units from the
Yeah,
fleet.
it's 3 phases.
And that's, yeah, three phases.
If there's
We don't want to put 155
Yeah.
mobile units on the market right now because we'd be getting, pennies.
On the dollar.
Right.
I guess my concern is if we surplus something now, this is going to be in use next year, potentially.
It's going to be what?
If we surplus something now, it could be in use potentially next year if they decide not to surplus it. We're granting approval for surplus now, and then they're going to be using it next year potentially.
These would be removed this summer.
I was going to say.
Yeah,
He's talking about-
well, I'm talking about up to this amount we're granting, but are we sure we're going to remove that amount?
He's
And
sure.
by the June
Okay,
5th Board of Education.
He's talking
meeting,
about
we'll
moving
have
them
that
out this
finalized.
summer.
Okay.
Just this first tranche. He's talking
Yeah,
about
okay.
moving out this summer.
Okay.
So if there's any other discussion, any other questions on that?
So just to confirm, you've talked to the principals and they no longer, because a lot of these are listed as classrooms, and the principals have told you that they don't have need for those classrooms anymore?
We've notified the 5 schools that I just mentioned. So 4 on that list plus Western Union. Yes. And the responses that we received, Sandy Ridge said, hey, we have 3 that we use for after school. And that utilization at Sandy Ridge is, I think they're at 82% next year. We certainly feel that we can accommodate the after school program. Either one, use that mobile unit that we'd be keeping on site, use the dining room, use the gym, use a classroom or 2 classrooms. So we will have that discussion with the school. They ended up being
They
okay
may
with it.
convince Dave to leave another one there.
Yeah, because it says remaining will be 1.
Yes.
Right. But we
Yeah.
would be approving up to while he continues to have conversations with principals, right? And if they change his mind, they could have 2 left there
Okay.
instead of 1.
It could mean you don't get rid of all 49. You could be 40 when it's all said and done.
Remember, though, that Dr. Houlihan and Dr. Barnes told us that if House Bill 13/90 was approved for this coming school year, we wouldn't need any new MCRs or anything at any of the schools. So I think with the realignment, especially in the elementary school levels, I think we're in.
And the grandfathering and transfer. So we're
Yeah.
taking a first look at it. And then once things settle out, we'll be able to move into phase 2.
Yeah, we felt we were being very conservative as we went through this.
Good. Wingate is the most shocked. Wingate doesn't have the declining population that a lot of the other schools have. They're pretty steady throughout the forecast. So there would be my only one, but if their principal feels good with it, then we're good.
The principal there and the AP have already told me they've already made plans for next year to bring all of those inside the building.
That would be awesome.
Or like, let's look at Porter Ridge Middle School. There's 21 there. And the proposal is that you would only have 7 remaining.
Correct.
Is that enough to get us through the bond construction for those 13 classrooms? It says 13 are used for classrooms.
Oh, okay.
And we're only going to leave 7.
Right. So their utilization right now is at 97%. So one of our first things when we looked at schools, and this was last summer, was why are you using mobile units when your capacity and your enrollment are as they are? So we really felt all along that they certainly didn't need 21 mobile units. But they are on the site. Schools are going to use their space because it's there. It's a nice thing to have. And that is one of the schools that I will be meeting with. He did ask for a couple more mobiles. But again, we will look at that. There, next year, we will complete the construction for the additional classrooms there. So their capacity is going to increase. And that number we show, I think, is 92%. Yeah, so their utilization will drop to 92%. We felt that at 97% now, that leaving 7 mobile units on that campus, again, was conservative.
Right. The capacity is 1356. They have 1321, so that would lead you to believe they didn't need all those mobiles that are sitting there. But you're going to have an ongoing conversation with Dr.
Yes.
Patience about
Yep.
whether or not. They need
Yeah, and we understand that
I
there's
get
some
that.
programs, so
Sometimes it's hard
program
to go
changes.
from 21 to 7.
Yeah, exactly.
But how much is the cost of running a mobile unit?
It's on average, $2,000 a year. So when we're looking at 155 mobiles leaving the fleet, that's $300,000.
And the $2,000 is just for utilities,
It's only energy. Yeah.
right? Not to
Only
mention
electrical.
maintaining them.
Maintaining it. Okay.
So does the principal know what's going to be moved around? Like,
Yes.
nobody's going to get shifted around somewhere they don't.
Again, he's planning on bringing all of them in. I mean, we could have the discussion of taking all 20 away.
He's got some summer programs going on there this summer, but when we met with him last week, he was anxious about, for the first time, getting everyone inside of the building. So that's what his plan is.
And there aren't any schools that need mobiles? I have to ask the question before we surplus them.
Yeah, and we have we'll have 109 mobile units remaining after the 155
Right.
for this next year. So certainly the 49, we're in great shape
Okay.
with the rest of the.
Is there any discussion about moving some of the mobiles at Sun Valley to a different place on the campus to use them during the construction?
Well, the fear, was that we were going to have to do that. We certainly didn't want to, because that was possibly going to be money from the project, and they need every dollar they can for the project. But again, looking at the numbers for Sun Valley, I think they're 91% is what we expect the utilization to be this coming fall. So we are keeping 4 mobile units out there, number one. And number two, we are looking to be able to provide storage space for their ROTC program inside the building, which
Awesome.
will free up one of those 4 mobile units for classroom space.
Okay.
One of those mobile units at Sun Valley High is for our transportation department, and they are relocating to
Shiloh.
Shiloh.
And another one of those mobile units is the custodial training academy. And that, of course, has to go elsewhere too.
Okay.
Dave, I would just ask, if you're going to be conservative on the numbers, I would also ask you to be conservative on your timeline. Phase 1 is fine up to 49, but we don't know what's going to happen with summer enrollment, with the number of principals I'm talking to that are saying that kids are coming back from charter and other locations. So I'm comfortable with the up to 49, but I would ask that you be conservative on your phase 2 and phase 3 until we can see what our numbers look like later in the summer.
Yes, sir. And as far as timeline, Sun Valley High School and Western Union Elementary School, those mobiles have to go by a specific time
So they can
for
do the
construction.
project. Yep.
As far as phase 2 and phase 3, we hadn't really determined when that was going to be. It was probably going to be second semester because we didn't want schools to be scheduling those spaces for that. But that's something we haven't worked through yet.
Okay.
And I got to ask a question since you brought it up. What is the custodial training academy?
So we bring the custodians in from around the county. They will go to that location. The custodial team, management team, will provide training for them, and it's a variety of issues. And Danny, you can
So
add
it's not a
specifics.
student academy.
No, it's
So are we
it's
moving
for-
it to
it's
another
for
school?
Our custodians.
Are we moving it to another school?
It is going to be relocated. I don't happen to remember where we had that landed.
Right now, we're thinking that it's going to just be at our facility upstairs in the training room until
Makes sense to me.
transportation moves out, and then we'll have more of a permanent space for them.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Not, I need a motion to recommend to the full board listing the surplus inventory of 40, up to 49 units, MCRs.
I guess one question too, before we do that. I guess you'll have some more concrete numbers by the time we have our next board meeting, as far
Yes.
as wing getting everything. Wing is what I'm concerned about. That'd be good.
Besides, there are some other few additional items at the very end as well. Just wanted to note that.
Yeah, those are the more of the regular monthly
Mhm.
items.
No, I don't have.
Anything in particular you want to point out?
Sorry about that. I don't have that. It's okay. I got it. Well, there you go. Well, now.
There wasn't anything particular to point out. We did have, we're to add construction. There's a wooden construction storage building at Monaro High School. And it's in the way of construction. That needs to go. And plus, what we were building is going to take the place of that storage need. There's a kiln and some lawn equipment.
Okay. Anything else? Can I get a motion?
Motion,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
motion to send to the full board.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So for information purposes, we have a change order update. We have 3 change orders that are listed. All of them, none of them cost us additional money. 2 of them were, hold on, let's see, we have 4 change orders. So Monaro Middle School, we have 2 change orders there. That's changing the time of that contract. We have that contract to be 2 summers long. With the great help of the contractor, we're able to consolidate that to 1 summer. So we're changing the date. That impacts the general contractor's contract, which is one of those change orders. The other is the asbestos contractor, and the changes his date as well. Monaro High School, we had a deductive change order of $5,000. And at Benton Heights, we had a contract time change. Again, that was weather related, increased the contract by 7 days. That completion date is October 19th, 2018. Again, that was just for information purposes. I can move on to the construction update. So did put in a photo of Parkwood High School stadium lighting. That before shot, I hope it, I hope the moon didn't affect the brightness on that. But recall that the high school field had, it was the lighting was 10-foot candles. You know, before the after shot shows the new LED lighting at 50-foot candles. Other items: Benton Heights Elementary School, the auditorium. We've got steel in place, and we've got some metal deck that's underway. The roof is scheduled to be dried in by mid to late June. Concrete slab was being poured in the auditorium this week. The project's on schedule. Again, noted that we added the 7 days for weather, and the contract currently is invoiced at 30%. Track renovations, we did tried to receive bids for Porter Ridge High School, Weddington High School replacement tracks. It was insufficient number of bids. We're going to rebid that May 29th. And we're going to ask you all for another facilities committee meeting between now and the Board of Education meeting on June 5th. because there's several items as I go through here that would need to be on that agenda. So that would be one. As far as bond projects, Piedmont High School additions renovations, we were receiving bids May 15th. However, we had an insufficient number of bidders. We're rebidding that May 31st, and we would want to take that, to the board, to you all again at that meeting that I was just mentioning that we need to schedule. The climate right now for construction is the contractors are more than satisfied. They have way more work than they can do. And so unfortunately, and you've heard this before, I mean, the April meeting, we did the same thing. The March meeting, we did the same thing where we didn't have enough bidders and we were having to rebid items. So the next item is Sun Valley High School. We did receive bids. And that, again, it's the same story. We tried to receive bids May 8th, moved it to May 15th, moved it to May 22nd. So we were able to open these bids, but we didn't have a great participation, by any means. There were 26 bid packages. In many cases, well, we had an average participation of two bidders per package. We had several bid packages where we only had one bid provided. So the branch, who's the CM at risk contractor, is going to be reviewing the scope. And we hope to be able to come back to you before the Board of Education meeting on June 5th, with what the plan is there. Porter Ridge High School additions renovations, we have advertised that job. So we are trying to beat the bushes and get some contractors to bid that project. We're receiving bids June 12th. And so this brings me to, this project we have known was going to be bidding at this time frame, and we've been wanting this bid to go to the Board of Education meeting that's going to be in late June. So that's a little bit different, from, I know you'll be dealing with some other stuff. This was one bid. We didn't want to wait till August to get that started. And Western Union, we had a pre-construction meeting that was held on May 15th. So that project is ready to go. We're just waiting for June 13th to get started. And that's the construction update.
Thank you.
Next item is the building permits and permit history. Let me know if there's any questions on that.
I like the new format of our agenda. If we don't have any additional questions, I need a motion to go into closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-131 for the consideration of bids and pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11A5 to discuss the purchase of real property.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.